Day one, reading The Power Broker. It's not really day one, I'm about halfway through, but wanting to start this to kind of help solidify what I am learning and reading it. I'm just chugging through, page by page, word by word. I'm a very slow reader, trying to absorb, and this is the kind of book that I feel like is worth taking the time to really absorb the lessons of. I mean, it's an epic. Definitely like an achievement of mastery by Robert Caro. I mean, so far, but it's incredibly dense. Anyways, today's December 1st, 2025. Got about 40 minutes of reading in. Not too crazy, but I'm on, chapter 26 right now. Part 5, The Love of Power. Chapter 26, Two Brothers. So really getting a deep insight into Paul Moses' tragic character, kind of. But what definitely stands out to me is just, like the parallels between the two. I mean, there are these two brothers, but how the slight differences between them kind of made the difference. Obviously, there's other like logistical things that played a part, but both of them with brilliance, both of them with ambition, both of them with like kind of like insurmountable pride that for Paul ends up really just like breaking him. Pride can be a dangerous thing, I guess, in both instances, because I think Robert Moses accumulated so much power that what made his pride dangerous was how it affected everyone around him, and what made Paul's pride dangerous was how it contributed to destroying himself, because he didn't have like the resources to be able to sustain that level of pride. Another thing that really stands out to me is obviously Robert Moses was a master at laying the foundations of accumulating power. Obviously earlier in the book you learned by his mastery of the law, but his mastery of people and navigating the infrastructures that are in place to leverage those people, learning how things really work behind the scenes, and ultimately it's through people. And so him engaging with the right people and everything. But no, one thing that stands out is, and in this chapter, I mean, Robert Caro makes it a point to say again that Robert Moses, at the age of 41, he still had no income at all. I don't think he had ever earned a cent for himself. He was living off of his mother's largesse, which is crazy. I mean, what you can do, when you can just focus all your efforts on your dreams and you don't have to worry about income. But then obviously he does eventually get in a place where he's wielding insanely large sums of money. Another huge takeaway for me is, and I think that, I'm not sure if this is the exact line, but Caro talks about how Paul's dreams turned to ash, and essentially it's because he didn't have the resources to be able to maintain them. He has this swimming pool that he's running, that he's, I think, some weird subconscious way trying to compete with Bob Moses' Jones Beach. Paul Moses has this swimming pool, but he can't keep it up. And I mean, for me, the lesson is dreams are a luxury that you can have only when you have the logistical foundations to be able to pursue them. In that way, maybe they're like children. I mean, I've kind of had this thought in the past, but dreams without money, they turn to ash. The line in this book is that his dreams turn to ash, I think, somewhere. But yeah, so a cautionary tale. Got to make sure that you have the logistical foundation from which you then start to layer on and build your dreams. I think Robert Moses learned that lesson quickly and adapted, which I think is one thing that I find as abhorrent of a character as he is in so many ways. I think his brilliance is manifest in the way that he dove into a world with dreams, ideals, and ambitions, quickly realized that his assumption of the way that things worked was not aligned with reality, and then immediately pivoted to engage with the world as it was to get what he wanted. And the proof of his capability to correctly identify reality is the extent to which he gained control over it, and being able to make his inner will and his conception of what reality should be come to pass by leveraging the mechanics of what was actually going on. So yeah, that is what I would say is something that's aspirational about Robert Moses. And then kind of the last lesson, that from 586 to 594 is just how Paul became poisoned by hate, and he was done an incredible injustice or whatever, but it seems to be taking over his life completely. And the visceral imagery and language that Caro uses, a lot of ash burning you know, smoldering hate turned to flame really does illustrate like how, you know, this hatred kind of burns him up from within and destroys him. And obviously like there are like outward, you know, impetuses to this, but ultimately it destroys him from within. He's just like burning up inside, and that becomes what looks like to be the rest of his life. So yeah, cautionary tales all over the place. Keep your bread up. Know when your pride is destroying you, and avoid fucking Robert Moses. Avoid Robert Moses. Do not get in Robert Moses' way. All right, that's today. That's today's reading, December 1st, 2025. The Power Broker, pages 586 to 594. Yeah, let me know what you think. I guess let me know what you think. If you're on this journey, if you've been on this journey, if you've been reading The Power Broker, give me your thoughts. Tell me if you think I'm in line with what the hell is actually really going on in this book. But yeah, we'll catch you on the next one. Catch you on the next page, baby. Catch you on the next page.